Hello and welcome to another episode with A&A Rockshop, the hidden gem of Lexington, South Carolina. This time, we are teaching you about the rock cycle. So, as the previous video that we did was the introduction to modern geology, but you can't have modern geology without the inner workings of the rock cycle. So that's what we're getting into this week. So this cycle basically describes the materials, majorly, that comprise the Earth, the formation process, and also how they interconnect with each other. There are three main types of rocks that we are going over. It gets more complicated the more you look into it, but for sanity's sake, we're just going over three. And those are going to be igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Each of these are formed in physical change. So from one result to another. And that can be through melting, cooling, compacting, or deforming. And it is very important to note that this is a cycle, so there is no beginning or end necessarily, but for the sake of simplification, we're gonna start with magma. Molten liquid rock forms in the Earth's deep crust, also known as the mantle. This is then referred to as lava when it's expelled to the surface. So magma is under the ground, lava is above the ground. For example, volcanic activity is when magma turns to lava. When this happens, the cooling process takes place. And during this phase, it actually forms crystallization and minerals within the rock that then becomes an igneous rock. These rocks, or crystallized and cooled lava, then become sediments. And this happens through weathering and erosion. In your daily life, you may understand sediments to be sand, clay, or gravel. As for weathering, that is the chemical process in which breaks down rocks into smaller pieces of sediments. And erosion is the natural transportation of these weathered sediments, and they basically just go through streams, oceans, wind, glaciers, really anything natural that moves it from one location to another. Once these sediments come to a resting spot, usually in lower topographic areas, like underwater or by cliff sides, the next process in the phase begins. So as igneous rocks are going through this chemical process and they are being deposited, weathered, and eroded into more sediments, these sediments then build up and up and up and up. They later then get compacted and cemented. This cementation happens through mineralization. This process is also known as lithification and is now considered a sedimentary rock. And these rocks are actually capable of producing something called chemical sedimentary rocks. And this is basically where the rocks precipitate or excrete minerals from its original form. And this is a result of dropping temperatures and dissolving minerals. Pre-existing rocks like igneous or lithified sediments then can become metamorphic. And let's get into how that happens. So when a rock becomes extremely pressurized and superheated, it can then change its chemical makeup, where it will still be kind of similar, but it's different in its own regard, where it can enlarge or alter into new minerals of their own. This generally happens within the Earth's crust. And full cycle here, that's when it can come in contact with so much heat it becomes liquid rock. And then the cycle starts all over again. But that is about it that you need to know for the rock cycle. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time on our informational videos. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.